Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands-off with somebody. A number of producers come in to make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction back.
Not 50 Cent dropping some straight-up wild footage that Terrence Howard sent him, and it's all about Diddy's freaky secret parties. Terrence is finally letting it all out, and trust, this tea is boiling hot. For years, he's been saying the industry turned its back on him after he refused to play their twisted games. Now, with all these jaw-dropping claims about Diddy surfacing, people are finally starting to see who's really been pulling the strings behind closed doors. And guess what? Diddy's not the only one in the spotlight. Terrence brought up Young Miami too, and what he's saying is beyond messy. He's throwing out claims that Young Miami was allegedly showing up to those infamous parties. But it gets even crazier. Terrence says he caught her on camera doing things that'll leave you speechless. What he supposedly witnessed, way more shocking than anyone expected. This whole situation is spiraling, and we gotta unpack it all. The stuff Terrence Howard is revealing about Diddy, it's next level insane. The wildest part? Nobody even asked for this, and he just decided to let it all spill. Nobody knew Terrence even had dirt on Diddy like that. But just a few days ago, he popped up on a podcast and aired it all out. From what he's saying, his run-ins with Diddy sound a lot like what others have been hinting at for years now. So all that talk about shady behavior and people being lured into sketchy situations, Terrence Howard just added more heat to the fire. He says Diddy hit him up claiming he needed help with acting. Now that's interesting. Cause yeah, Diddy's dabbled in acting, but not on a level where he'd need coaching from someone like Terrence Howard, a real pro in the game. Terrence showed up thinking it was a legit business move, ready to work. But the second he walked in, Diddy started moving funny, like he had a whole different agenda. Terrence wasn't having none of it. He made it crystal clear like he doesn't play those types of games, and he shut that mess down real fast. Allegedly, Terrence didn't stop there. He wanted folks to know he wasn't the only one Diddy tried something with. He claimed Diddy allegedly made moves on every single man who came through to his parties. According to Terrence, the men lost their man cards at those events. It ain't safe, not at all. These Diddy parties sound straight up wild, and honestly, it's not even the first time Terrence has called this kind of behavior out in Hollywood. He's actually been vocal for years about how he got iced out of the industry because he wouldn't play along with their twisted rules. He says they tried to pressure him into giving up who he really was just to stay in the game. A while back, he came out and revealed the real reason he walked away from acting, and it had nothing to do with getting tired or not booking roles. According to him, Hollywood was trying to strip him of his manhood, and he wasn't about to let that slide. But once Terrence took a stand and said nah to the games, that's when folks started flipping on him, calling him difficult, acting like he was the problem. Same playbook they always use, especially when someone refuses to play by the industry's twisted rules. We've seen it happen with so many women in the game, and now Terrence was getting the same treatment. So when he announced he was retiring from acting back in December 2022, everybody was shocked.
But when you give up your manhood, I've never seen somebody recover from it. That was all the people that went to the Puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man.
The timing felt off. He was still landing major roles, his fan base was strong, and there was no public scandal pushing him out, but behind the scenes, Terrence says it was a whole different story. According to him, the pressure was real, people in power trying to force him into situations that made him feel like he was losing who he was. He says they were trying to tear down his manhood piece by piece, and when he stood his ground and pushed back, Hollywood didn't like that one bit. Next thing we know, boom, he's gone, out the spotlight. He eventually came out of retirement, but trust, he's been moving real careful ever since, and now that he's back, he's not staying quiet. Terrence has been pulling the curtain all the way back on what he calls the shady side of the entertainment world. One thing he keeps bringing up, the pressure he felt to wear a dress on set, yet something he refused to do. He said he stood 10 toes down against it because those scenes had nothing to do with the script. To him, it felt like a setup to make him look goofy or chip away at his dignity, and he wasn't about to let that happen. It's giving the same energy Cat Williams talked about. And let's be real, this ain't even a new topic. Over the years, a bunch of black male actors have spoken out about how producers tried to push them into wearing dresses for no reason. Like scenes where it didn't even make sense, just random and unnecessary. Cat Williams kept it all the way real when he sat down with Kleb Sheehy. He didn't hold back on the whole emasculation talk. He said it's way more common in Hollywood than people want to admit. According to Cat, there's pressure for men to wear dresses or act super feminine, and it usually comes with a fat paycheck attached, but at a cost. He said he's turned down big money just to stand on his principles, just to protect my integrity. And right after that interview dropped, Terrence Howard jumped in to co-sign, and he had something real interesting to add. Remember when people were saying he got fired because he had a bad attitude or was too hard to work with? Yeah, those rumors ran wild. But once Cat spoke up, Terrence slid in and shut all that noise down. He cleared it up fast. Said the real reason he got replaced had nothing to do with the temper. It was because he stood firm and refused to get played. He wasn't about to let the industry chip away at who he is or take his manhood just to stay booked and busy. According to Terrence, that's exactly why they let him go. He said straight up, "My daddy taught me, never take the vertebrae out your back or the base out your throat. I ain't raised no sheep, I raised men. Stay a man." Powerful words. He said being a man nowadays feels like a curse because this world ain't built for strong men to thrive no more. Everything's getting blurred. It's all androgynous now. He even pointed out how the most successful men in the spotlight lately, they're often made to act soft or toned down, and it's not by accident. But Terrence wasn't done. In another interview, he doubled down and dropped even more heat. He said there's a quiet agenda going on, a push to feminize black men, and it's all because strong black men are seen as a threat in the industry. He didn't sugarcoat anything, and he said, "The man has been demonized with a new formula. Most men are made to be feminine and stripped of their power and strength. White men can be strong, but when a black man does it, it's labeled as dangerous." Then he added, "I'm not about to remove a few chromosomes just to fit someone else's story. If anything, they should expand their stories to let men be men and still celebrate a woman's beauty at the same time." Phew! Now, after everything he's recently exposed about Diddy, fans are starting to connect the dots. And honestly, it's all beginning to make a lot more sense. But it doesn't stop there. Word on the inside is that Terrence is still holding back even more explosive info. Stuff that could make everything he's already said look mild. Then guess who's right in the middle of it? Diddy's side piece, Young Miami. According to 50 Cent, after Terrence's interview went viral, he initially said he was staying out of it. "No comment, I'm staying positive. God help us all." But now, it sounds like he changed his tune because he's out here claiming he's got some wild freak-off footage that could blow this whole thing wide open. So now reports are flying that Terrence allegedly took some wild footage at one of Diddy's infamous parties, and what's in that video? It supposedly shows Young Miami caught up in some real questionable situations, but let's be honest, this ain't exactly shocking. The street's been whispering that Young Miami, one half of City Girls, knows way more than she's ever admitted. In fact, there have been rumors for a minute now that she wasn't just attending those freak-offs, she was allegedly helping organize them, and not as some innocent bystander either. For example, when Diddy's other girl, Gina Huynd, posted a picture of her and Diddy together, Miami completely lost it. She allegedly snapped in a jealous rage and made some crazy threats, saying she'd make Diddy force Gina into one of those freak-offs. She went off saying, "Gina, you've been down bad ever since I came into the picture. Hope you've been crying for a baby for 15 years. You've been hanging around like a groupie, getting that EP and D when he felt like it. You a eater. You the same one crying to Tasha K over wanting a baby. Poor Sushi." And then she kept going, "You wanted a baby, B. I got a career. You a certified freak. Diddy ain't even looked your way since the awards. You talking about getting rid of babies. Let that heartache go, hun. If I wanted you to eat me, Diddy would have had you on your knees. You a munch?" Ooh, not a munch, but don't even get us started. And that wasn't the only drama. She allegedly bullied another one of Diddy's side chicks, the same one who got pregnant. According to court documents, the woman, filing as Jane Doe to stay anonymous, claimed she was coerced into taking substances while at Diddy's house. Now that's where things really start to take a dark turn. According to the documents, things took a dark turn back in July 2022. Jane Doe says she was told by Diddy, listed as defendant Combs, to travel to his Los Angeles home. Once there, while in his bathroom, she claims she was forced to take an unknown substance. Later, she found out it was ketamine, wind, or something mixed with it. and says it caused her to black out and lose consciousness off and on throughout the night. She made it clear and she never agreed to take ketamine or any other drugs. Jane Doe went on to say that when she came to, her body was covered in bruises, and she had no memory of what happened while she was unconscious. She claims Diddy would make her perform in front of him while giving her alcohol and substances until she'd pass out. Then she'd wake up battered with no idea how she got hurt. And this wasn't just a one-time thing. She says this went on until July 2024. Then things escalated even further. According to the lawsuit, she ended up pregnant with Diddy's child, and that's when things allegedly got even uglier. She claims Young Miami began bullying her hard to the point where she suffered a miscarriage. The documents revealed Jane Doe took a pregnancy test which came back positive. But after she told Diddy, his associate, Korea Brownlee, reportedly started blowing up her phone, pressuring her to terminate the pregnancy. Jane Doe says she suffered a miscarriage not long after, and then went silent. She cut off contact with Diddy and his team for around 3 months. And guess what? Korea Brownlee is Young Miami, aka one half of the City Girls. So if you're wondering whether Young Miami would really go after another woman like that, just remember how she snapped when Diddy had a baby with someone else back in 2022. This situation's messy and disturbing, and it's still unfolding. Then we got Lil Rod's lawsuit, and the claims in this one take things to a whole new level of disturbing. Allegedly, he didn't just call out Diddy, he put Young Miami and some of her relatives right in the middle of it. In the updated filing, Lil Rod claimed Young Miami wasn't just some random guest floating around Diddy's controversial parties. She was allegedly there witnessing everything go down. And not just witnessing, he says she stayed quiet through it all. One shocking moment he pointed out, he claims Diddy got so intoxicated at one event that he started handing out cocaine and offered it directly to Mr. Jones. That's Lil Rod. When Lil Rod refused and walked to the restroom, that's when things allegedly took a dark turn. According to the documents, Young Miami's cousin allegedly burst into the bathroom and started groping him while he was trying to use it. Lil Rod says he believes Diddy sent her in there to do it. The filing details that as soon as she entered, she dropped to her knees and began performing oral acts on Lil Rod without his consent. Shocked, he says he pushed her away and left the bathroom, but it didn't end there. She allegedly followed him out, still undressing, trying to straddle him and initiate more acts right there in front of Diddy and some of his staff. And if that wasn't enough, the lawsuit goes on to mention another incident. This one happening on Thanksgiving night 2022 down in Miami, Florida. What was described in that next part? Just as intense and just as disturbing. This isn't just messy, it's sounding criminal. And with these kinds of allegations stacking up, it's clear this story is far from over. According to the lawsuit, things took another wild turn inside the studio. Lil Rod claimed that Diddy asked both him and Forrest Taylor to step into the bathroom. And once they were in there, Diddy allegedly asked if they had a $100 bill so they could do some nose candy with him. Lil Rod says he was scared out of his mind, but luckily he didn't have the bill, so he avoided that situation. But that didn't stop Diddy. He just waited until later to do it with Young Miami instead. But it doesn't stop at that one moment. Lil Rod went further, accusing Young Miami of allegedly assisting Diddy in moving substances around and personally delivering them wherever he was, whenever he needed it. The court documents even laid out one specific moment during rehearsals for the Something in the Water Festival in Virginia. The filing states that Lil Rod witnessed Diddy doing lines of coke right in his dressing room. At one point, Diddy reportedly asked for a different substance, but one of his people, Brendan, forgot it. So another associate, Christina Coram, allegedly had it brought in directly from Miami. And it gets even messier. Lil Rod accused Young Miami of not just being a part of Diddy's inner circle, but claimed she was allegedly getting paid monthly to keep things going. Not just to party, but to provide certain services. He claimed she was acting like a personal S-worker for Diddy in exchange for stacks every single month. These claims off the charts. And if true, they paint a whole different picture of what's really been going down behind closed doors. According to the court documents, Young Miami, Jade, and Daphne Joy were allegedly getting monthly wire transfers as part of their role working for Diddy. Not just as friends or party guests, but reportedly as part of his inner circle of S-workers. The payments were said to come from Robin Greenhill, pointing straight to what's being called an ongoing criminal operation involving Mr. Combs. So yeah, multiple sources have now connected Young Miami to Diddy in ways way deeper than what fans originally thought. And to make things even messier, 50 Cent allegedly got footage of her caught in 4K, and if there's one person you don't want holding receipts on you, it's 50 Cent. Let's not forget, he's petty, messy, and lives to stir the pot. And considering his beef with Diddy has been brewing for over 20 years, this situation just keeps getting wilder by the minute. Between Terrence Howard's shocking claims and 50 possibly holding explosive footage, It's starting to look like Young Miami might be deeper in this than anybody expected. Hey, don't forget to share, subscribe, and like for more jaw-dropping updates, cause this story is far from over.